Welcome to the dumbest smart guy podcast on the planet. This is the Central Unintelligence Podcast.
Yeah, to the most inappropriate theme song for the podcast on the planet, as Adam was just bitching about. Don't worry, I got Millennial Frog fucking working on it right now. He's
the new breaking news.
The new breaking news remix version. So we'll see how that turns out. I don't know. Maybe it'll be worse.
It's gonna fucking be like a Linkin Park song or some bullshit.
It's just crawling in. Anyways,
I can't something. I don't know the lyrics for that song. I actually don't know any Linkin Park songs. But anyways, let's go on about.
I'm Josh. He's Adam.
World War III. It's on the table, boys.
World War III, buddy. Is it coming? Is it not? Who knows? Find out on today's episode of Central Intelligence Podcast.
NCUP.
I was like, wait, what are we doing again? The only reason I remembered is because the Stream Deck has the logo stuff. So I was like, oh yeah, okay, all right. Anyways.
It sure is great to be here, Cincinnati, Ohio. We're in Cleveland.
Anyways, if you want to hear all other stuff, go to GameRageMagazine.com. You can go to Instagram and TikTok at Game Rage Magazine, Twitter /X at Game Rage Mag, YouTube at Game Rage Magazine has everything you could possibly want in terms of content and more. Adam's at All Gas No Trash Official, and if you want to hear a pretty all right podcast about music, you should go listen to All Gas No Trash. Anyways, people are fucking stupid. I just want to. This is obviously related to the whole Iran-Israel thing, man.
We're also stupid because we're also people.
Yeah, we're also stupid, but I will say this. I'm so proud of what we do here on the CUP. Even though we're fucking stupid as shit, we at least take no personal stance on these issues and analyze them without bias, or as much bias as we try to take out of the situation, right? Obviously, we're very pro-military industrial complex here. Lockheed, Raytheon, you guys need some, we could use a sponsor. Yeah, I'm just throwing that out there.
Raytheon is my favorite EV evolution.
Hell yeah, man. But I was in a Twitter space. I've been fucking around. I've been fucking about in these lately. I said yesterday.
You motherfucker. I don't know why, man. You're slacking off and fucking about with all these Twitter spaces.
Well, I'm also participating. So, I'm also talking and, I'm trying to spread the word. So, it's I'm kind of figuring it's both because I do plug the CUP and then I immediately get kicked off.
Yeah, it's self-promotion.
I'm like, bro. Because people are asking these questions and then they don't want to give me enough time to answer it, and they're just like, sum it up in 4 words, and I'm like, get the fuck out of here. So the 4 words are, go to the Central Unintelligence Podcast on GameRageMagazine.com, and then they're like, booted. You sir are banned.
4 words. Israel good, Iran bad. You say that in the Iran channel, and then when you go to the Israel channel, Iran good, Israel
yeah.
bad.
Oh man, I was in one today there was literally a dude whose profile picture was a silhouette of Hitler. All right. And as soon as I saw that, and this guy, he was the speaker, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be fucking interesting. And I was listening to them talk. They did, and this also is fucking stupid. They did a debrief from a debate that they had the night before, which was essentially just continuing the debate, which had everybody. Their whole argument was that the Jews controlled the media. And I'm like, the title of the thing was World War III Imminent ? Debate debrief. And then it was, okay, guys, you know what? We're just going to go ahead and continue the debate from last night. And they're like, yeah, so Jews control the media. It's no coincidence that every Jew is in the media.
Wait, so what did the Hitler guy do?
That's what he was spouting off about. That was his whole. All right. And then what was funny is the guy who was running the channel was like, yes, Jews bad. No good Jews. Jews bad. All Jews bad. Which I'm like, okay, this is where people get the anti-Semitism thing from. Is because the people who are really hate Jews, Yeah, they're saying all this shit instead of, and what pisses me off is they try to, because they're like, well, geopolitically, because that's the first thing I say when I raise my hand to speak and they call on me and I say, hey, just a quick question. This is how I open it. I go, have you guys ever analyzed this from the overall broader geopolitical spectrum in terms of, how this is kind of how these things came to be and why they're happening in the way that they're happening now? And they were like, I don't think so. Well, I mean, did you have anything to say about it? And then I go, oh, actually, well, I do. So then I go on my spiel a little bit about the whole broad thing. And then they'll let me talk for like 5 or 6 minutes. And then at the end, they go, yeah, and that's why the Jews run the media. Like, they just go back to the same shit.
So they just shoehorned your whatever the fuck you said.
All of the salient points that I make about why this shit's happening now. And I also go on to say, like, listen, I'm not choosing a side here. I'm just looking at this from an objective perspective, saying, hey, here's what it is. And then I said, also, just let it be known that no one can predict if this is going to happen. Like, no one can predict what's going to happen. I personally, and I've said in these things too, like my personal feeling is that World War III's already started. It started when the Russians invaded the Ukraine. That will be looked back in history as the jumping off point. That's the equivalent of Hitler invading Poland in 1939. That's going to be the true essence of it. Now, granted, people don't usually associate World War II starting until we, the United States, got involved when Pearl Harbor attacked us, right? So in the history books, it probably won't be viewed as World War III until we jump in or some major fucking entity jumps in. But I say those things and they're like, yeah. And then the one guy comes on and says, yeah, so that's why the Nazis are actually running Ukraine. And I'm like, wait a minute, I thought you didn't like Jews. And then they're like, oh, no, this guy was not, he was pro-Jew, and the other guy was the Hitler guy was anti-Jew. And most of the people in the channel, it did turn into a fucking echo chamber. And what's funny is it's very ironic because I think the guy's name who hosted the thing is like, it's like Truth Teller something. Like, I don't know what the fucking remember it, but Truth Teller is in the fucking name. And I'm like, you're just fucking sitting here bitching about Jews. Like, you're not analyzing this at all. You're not taking any fucking perspective other than you don't like Jews and you want Israel to fucking explode. Well, as I explained to them, I'm sorry, buddy, but that's not gonna go down that way for one simple reason. These Jews that you dislike so much, they got the nukes, baby. They got nuclear fucking weapons. And we are not able to stop them from using them if they so choose. So, guess what? You want the Jew to fucking get out of media and all this stuff? Sorry. Not going to happen. One thing they did agree with me on was because I did make the point, because somebody was bringing up the October 6th or 7th, the actual initial attack.
Yeah.
And I had said, all right, you guys are talking all this shit about how Mossad is like this fucking crazy organization and they do all this crazy shit, right? But so on one hand, you want me to believe that, and this is for the people who were the pro-Israeli people in the chat. They were going on this thing about how, Mossad is so good that look what we did. We blew up a guy's apartment. Like, we knew exactly where he was going to be. We knew his apartment, blah, 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 months in advance, blah, blah, all this shit, right? And I'm like, okay, cool. That's in the heart of enemy territory, in the capital city of a place where no Jew is welcome, right? You guys got in there and fucking figured out where this guy was. That is an unmatched feat of intelligence work right there. There's nothing that can beat that, man. That is just top-notch intelligence work, right? But you also then want me to believe that you guys did that, but then on the same hand, that you had no fucking idea that a couple hundred dudes with paragliders and fucking Toyota Hiluxes were gonna roll across your border and start shooting people? You're gonna tell me you had no fucking idea? You assholes that, like, Israel claims to themselves all the time that they're number one intelligence agency in the world and that Hamas, their enemy, and Hezbollah and all these enemy groups are the most infiltrated groups and they have everybody everywhere. Okay. I believe that, but you want to be the victim and claim, well, we had no idea this was happening. No. You exactly knew this was happening, and you did what we did on 9/11. You did what we did on Pearl Harbor. You let it happen. You said, cool, this is an excuse to get into some shit. Because like I said in the last episode, Israel cannot afford for Iran to fucking have nuclear weapons. That's the bottom line. That's just the straight bottom line. They can't allow it. So They need a pretext for war. Well, if you start this shit in Gaza, you can clean up this fucking nonsense that you wanted to already clean up anyways. And then what can you do? Well, then you know Iran's going to fiddle fuck around because you're going to throw some shit here, throw some shit across the border over there, do this, do that. And now you basically got the approval of Big Daddy America to be like, oh yeah, go ahead. Because you came here and then the next week, all of a sudden you're blowing up apartments in fucking in Tehran. Come on, man. That ain't a coincidence. And then, of course, the anti-Jew people or the pro-Jew people just say that I'm fucking a Nazi. And then the anti-Jew people go on and say how, yeah, that's right, because the Jews are shifty. And I'm like, all right, you guys are just not fucking paying attention to anything I'm saying. So I'll just bow. Go to GameRageMagazine.com fucking, if you want to hear more fucking analysis from actual, I am an idiot, but I actually, I'm not going to sit here and just do pro-Jew or anti-Jew rhetoric, which is basically what most of these things end up devolving into. And it's very funny because people have their fucking side. Like, they are committed to whatever side of the aisle they're on, they're 100% on it. And there's no fucking trying to, even with fact, there's no trying to say like that thing that I bring up about, like I said, man, you can't tell me Mossad had no fucking idea this thing was going to happen. You guys let it happen to yourself. I'm not saying that that's wrong. That's where you're getting shit all twisted. I'm not saying that Israel was wrong for doing that. I think that's a fucking great move. What a great maneuver to fucking give the pretext to go wipe up some shit you wanted to clean up, and now it will eventually, hopefully, turn into war with Iran so you can get rid of them and stop their nuclear program from being put into place. And all the pieces are falling into the puzzle. Just today, there was a bill introduced to authorize the President of the United States to let Israel use our bunker buster weapons that we have, our bombs and shit, to specifically destroy the underground nuclear facilities and technology building spaces that Iran has. That was introduced. The game plan has been fucking thrown out there. We know that this is the reason. You can't tell me it's not the fucking reason this is happening. And Iran's been backed into a corner because they have to respond. Because you can't not respond in a way that is meaningful, because if you do not do that, you're just bending the knee to Israel and saying, you guys can act with impunity within our country. You are superior to us. You can fucking do whatever you want, and there's nothing we can do back to you.
Okay, I just want to interject real quickly and say...
Interject all you want, good buddy.
All this happened over... Well, I'm not trying to devalue the 1,400 deaths that happened on October 7th, which is quite a bit.
Right.
But man, things have escalated exponentially over the course of from October to basally now. So what is that? August?
Like 9 months?
Months?
Wait, what is this? October? It was October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. Well, it's like 11 months. Or 10 months.
Okay. So 10 months.
10 months. Let's just call it that.
Yeah. And so this all happened over 1,400 deaths. I don't know if it was... I still don't know if this was worth escalating the shit to this point.
Yeah, what's about to happen? I don't think it is. You're right. I don't think it is worth it. Well, again, just like... Was 9/11, 3,000 people died? 3,500, somewhere around? Not to discredit those people that died, because that fucking is a tragedy. But was it worth 20 years of death in Iraq and Afghanistan, not only on our part, but the civilian population that we decimated in those two countries?
Yeah.
Was that worth it?
I think it was like 100,000 soldier deaths in Iran and Iraq combined, or... if I'm not mistaken.
Let's see. How many? Let's see the number. Okay, so we have only suffered 7,000 military fatalities in Iraq and Afghanistan since the start of it in October of 2001. And that...
To the point it ended.
Well, we're still technically in Iraq.
Oh, we are?
Yeah, we still have plenty of bases. We only have a couple thousand personnel there, but we still have a presence in Iraq. It's not big, but we still have and maintain a presence. And
only 7,000 deaths?
7,000 people died, only of our guys, military casualties in 20 years of warfare, which is a feat in and of itself, right? It includes 55,000 service members were wounded or injured or whatever. So like that's more online with that.
Okay, all right.
Contractors, another 7,000 total between the two wars. Iraqi national military and police, 100,000 of their own guys trying to get their country back in together. And this is the guys that were on our side. We had allied troops, so people from like Australia, part of the coalition, England, 1,400. Okay. Civilians, 244,000 to 266,000. So a quarter of a million people that were innocent civilians that had nothing to do with this died in 20 years of warfare.
Yikes.
So
not worth it. Not fucking worth it. So it went from 3,000 to 240,000 casualties for those two wars for civilians. That's astronomical.
Yeah,
but anyways, I don't want to detract from what we're talking about.
No, but I mean, it is relevant. I mean, it's relevant to the fact that that's what's in store, but on an even greater scale when this continues to escalate.
Multiple countries.
I mean, because this is going to include, and as we've seen today, Jordan declaring for America.
That is I mean, I don't know too much about Jordan, but I just kind of assume that anybody that basically barricades around or is around the perimeter of Israel itself is probably Arab or Islamic, and Jordan deciding they're the fucking third man, dude.
Yeah, like you had sent me that thing or whatever, that they're the Hogan, man. They're coming out at the fucking last minute to fuck shit up. And what's crazy is essentially if you want to shoot missiles into Israel from Iran, you have to go through Jordan.
Ooh.
Like there's no way around it.
Ooh.
Like you have to, and you also have to fly over Iraq, which we have a presence there.
Jesus.
Now, because those are the two countries that basically are in between, and then Saudi Arabia is in between. It's part of that as well.
And they don't fuck with Iran, so.
Well, that's the thing is Jordan has been a very friendly country to the United States because the king of Jordan is, I mean, if you want to say he's like a CIA installed puppet guy or whatever, but Jordan has a massive amount of military equipment that's all U.S. made and U.S. procured. And we've sold it to them, given them some over the last 50 years in the fight against communism.
So it wasn't just a haphazard decision.
No, there's a reason why we did all this was because we were friends with Israel from the beginning and we're like, okay, we need to stop communism. The Israelis had problems with everybody. And so we're like, shit, why don't we just make deals with all these assholes? We'll give them weapons. Israel can be our proxy in the Middle East because we don't have an actual presence there. And then we'll arm everyone else with our shit. And I fully believe that there's a fucking switch that we can flip that'll turn off all of whatever military's equipment that we gave them. Like, the tanks and APCs that we gave them, if we flip a switch, that shit will just turn off and not work. Like, I know that we built that shit in there. There's no fucking way we didn't, because you wouldn't just want to give your now. As far as rifles and rocket launcher, yeah, that stuff will probably still all work, but aircraft, tanks, all that shit, APCs, helicopters, all the shit we've given them, that shit's just not going to work if you turn against us. And
I disagree, because then how were Afghanis able to basically co-opt all our shit and then fight back?
Because we didn't give it to them. We didn't send it there. We sent them this stuff with the specific intent of giving it to another country. Oh. That was all shit that we made for ourselves and just fucking left it behind.
I guess that would be a fair difference.
There's no way. And so yeah, we wouldn't have put all that shit there. We wouldn't have had that kill switch in this stuff. You know what I'm saying, to begin with. But like I said, I believe that to be the case. And the Jordanians now have declared they're the first country to really declare a side on this, because everyone else last time in April was just kind of, don't fucking shoot stuff through our country, man. Like, come on, man. And Saudi Arabia, fucking all those other countries around there, they were all kind of buddy-buddy with Iran in that issue. Jordan did say, get fucked, and the Jordanians did help us in shooting down some missiles to protect, quote-unquote, Israel, right? So, in theory, them declaring that's now a line.
That's the Iron Curtain.
So Israel now has at least one country that is going to be friendly to them or seemingly friendly to them in between them and Iran. The next country you got over is Iraq. That's basically
That's a toss-up.
Who the fuck knows? Because the Iraqi government doesn't really even have control of its own fucking country, and we don't have a strong enough force there to really do anything.
To bully and influence?
Yeah, so...
To strong arm?
Right, yeah. So they could go either way. But granted, they don't really have shit anyways. So Saudi Arabia, that's the wild card. They've been friendly to us, but then they've also been like...
Traitors.
We're going to go to join BRICS now, We're going to fucking... We're no longer going to just take money in dollars. We're going to take other monies now to fucking devalue our currency. Like, oh, I see what you're doing there. Fucking assholes. So... with that declaration now, it does make this interesting because whenever this attack comes, Jordan said for sure we are shooting down anything that comes into our territory.
From Iran.
It's getting fucked. And shit, I think I saved the fucking thing. Let me just see what exactly the guy said.
What met this dude? An ally for Israel, if not a tentative ally, to start off this thing. Pretty fucking amazing. I wasn't expecting this.
Yeah, and our current situation is we had, as of yesterday or the day before, we had 12 naval warships in the Middle Eastern theater, 1 aircraft carrier with 6 destroyers, and we had a it's like a the Theodore Roosevelt is the aircraft carrier, and then they had these other, it's like a WASP, it's called like the WASP group or something, and it's like one of those ships that it's like a small flight deck, and they can launch the little F-35s that like have the vertical shit, like the vertical takeoff, so like it's kind of like a mini aircraft carrier, I guess.
Gotcha.
And then we have a bunch of other shit that's over there with them, so it's like, okay, there's 12 assets there, and I'm sure we've been sending shit and not telling anybody there's other shit on the way, or has probably likely already been gotten there.
Yeah, why telegraph or punch? Why telegraph anything?
Yeah, and my theory is that we already got shit in the Mediterranean on one side, and then we're gonna fucking throw up some shit into the Persian Gulf, and we also have some shit in the Red Sea. So we literally have this triangle of fucking death going on here, and there's really not much that Iran's gonna be able to fucking do about it, I don't think. So if we go defensive only, Iran will be all right. They're gonna make it. But if we turn into offense against them, done. Consider it done. Because I don't think that Iran has and now granted, this is where I think it's gonna get very interesting, because in my opinion, those Houthis up there in fucking Yemen, those fuckers have been trying to screw with our boats, and that's the one thing that everybody is like, hey, you don't fuck with the boats, man. You don't fuck with the ships. And
cargo ships.
Yeah, well, no, our military ships. We don't give a fuck about cargo ships. Who cares? If you fuck with our naval ships, we're gonna come fucking throw missiles up your ass, like no big deal.
Who gives a fuck about cargo ships? They're fucking up the trade line.
But it's only the trade line between Asia and fucking Europe, so we don't give a shit. We're only there protecting it just out of obligation to Europe.
To Europe, yes.
We don't otherwise, we're like, meh. That's why we're not even really doing that good of a job. Like, ships are getting fucked up all the time over there.
Yeah.
But if those Houthis, if they get something, and man, again, I know that we have the best and fucking most capable equipment that money can buy, right? But warfare, it's that Murphy's Law thing, where it's like anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And all it takes is one thing to go wrong, and one system to not work properly, and one missile that was at the right angle that just it got missed or something happened, and it punches a hole in one of our fucking ships. That's it. Full scale fucking invasion of Iran. We're fucking them up. Maybe not a boots on the ground invasion, but like we're gonna level the country. That's what the response to that will be.
Still not worth it.
I don't think so either.
I still don't think any of this was worth all the trouble, because now you got us intervening, and we really didn't have any stake in it to begin with.
No, we never had a stake in it.
And if anything, there's going to be possible multiple casualties for all parties involved. So it's like, shit, man. Numerous deaths.
Oh yeah, and there was this thing that I read that was like a little thing that had some stuff on it. It was talking about the Israeli Air Force. They have basically their entire Air Force on standby, so they're basically just sleeping in like 4-hour shifts and just waiting. So like their aircraft are all fueled up. They're all fucking ready to go.
What do they have? They have F-16s?
They have F-16s. They have F-35s. We obviously don't have F-22s because we don't sell that to anybody. But they got advanced like shit. So F-15s, F-16s, F-35s, all that stuff. The IDF is preparing defensive and offensive operations. So they're anticipating something and then having to then respond back to whatever that is.
So all people that would have been flying in or out of the country are now stranded within Israel itself.
Or stranded abroad if you were trying to get back to Israel. And so the Israeli Air Force is talking about, because Ben Gurion is like the major airport in Tel Aviv or whatever. And basically a lot of airliners have suspended flights to, and they're saying, hey, if you have one of our aircraft, you're like Lufthansa is one of the airlines that does it. And they're like, hey, any Lufthansa aircraft here, you're to immediately fuel up and depart. Take no passengers, fucking just come back. And they're flying back to Germany or whatever. And then no flights are coming in. They're banning flight, or the airlines are saying we're not sending any flights to. There was several flights yesterday that it was cool because I watched it on the flight tracker radar thing, and it had them. They were inbound from like Germany. There was one from Paris for wherever, inbound to Ben Gurion in Tel Aviv, and they literally turned around in like mid-flight and went back to their destination because they said, "Nah, fuck this. We're not risking this." And so the Israeli Air Force is getting cargo fucking planes because they're going to send cargo planes to major hubs, I'm sure, in Europe. They'll probably send one in Berlin. They'll probably send one in fucking Paris. They'll probably send one to fucking wherever in the UK and shit to pick up anybody that they have that was an Israeli citizen that was coming back to Israel. And obviously, if you're of military fighting age, they're definitely going to fucking take you back because they're gonna need you. Everybody fucking counts. And so that was the international flights thing. Also, Israel's been setting up all of their underground infrastructure for mass casualty and like their bomb shelters. Oh, shit. So like they're expecting this to be bad, and who knows? Maybe. And again, I had said back in April when we talked about this issue that when Iran attacked them the first time with these 300 missiles and drones and shit, I had said that, man, this really just kind of looked like them mapping out where everything's at. Like it kind of just was like, oh, they're like, cool, now we know where all your Iron Dome things are because we just overwhelmed the system, so all of them had to go and act to shoot this down. Now we can fucking... Now we know that we've been plotting for the last 3 months or whatever. Oh, cool. Now next time if we need to do this, well, now I'll have a better idea of where we can fucking strike or how much we need to send. Because, yeah, sure, 300 got sent and, whatever, maybe like 4 fucking things actually connected. Well, what if you send 900 this time? Is the system plus a couple of aircraft that are in the air gonna be able to shoot down all these things? Who the fuck knows? It'll be very interesting to watch. I hope we get to see some cool I hope some of those pilots take GoPros and fucking man, they should just live stream it. Where's the Gen Z fucking aircraft pilots in Israel fucking live streaming this shit? We're getting all this shit live streamed from the Ukraine. Why can't we get fucking a live stream of a guy in a fucking F-16 cockpit shooting down a fucking Israeli missile? Or Iranian missile. That'd be kind of cool.
You don't know that Israel's not going to be preemptive and just decide.
Oh, they might just take a stab again.
You ain't doing shit to us.
Because that was another thing that also they announced today is that the guy who was the number 2 for Hamas, they did this airstrike and they showed the video of it. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, they leveled this fucking building. It was this like apartment complex and they just fucking leveled it with this 2,000-pound bomb. And it fucking was to kill one guy. And he was the number 2 of the military wing of Hamas, supposedly the guy who planned the October 7th attack. And they did this on July 13th, they did this operation. And then they just conveniently say today, oh yeah, by the way, we also killed this guy too back like 3 weeks ago. And it's like, why would you say that? Oh, because, again, you're trying to fucking amp these assholes up, and you're like, look, we're killing all these guys. We'll hold this card and wait. And then, I'm Mr. Israel. Look at me. So, shit's going down. It's going to be bad. People were suggesting that they were going to do an attack similar to what was last time in the timing, which was going to be a Saturday night Israeli time. And it was going to be, because they did that in April, and it was after Shabbat, which is like, their Sabbath day or whatever. It's like Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. And I had said, man, what a great message that would send if you're Iranian to do it on their fucking holy day, Friday night at sundown. They're all supposed to be praying in there. You just fucking launch everything you have at them. Man, that would send a goddamn message.
Everything's on the table.
Oh, I think everything is on the table, but I don't know.
Do you want to shoehorn the other thing in there?
What other thing? The
Maduro, released statement from the United States about them not recognizing.
Oh yeah, shit, that's right. Yeah, we'll shoehorn that in a little bit. We declared that the other guy was the winner. I like how we haven't seen any fucking information on it. We're like, yes, the other guy was the winner, the guy that we wanted. Yes, for sure. I mean, listen, we know he did win, all right? I mean, it's not hard to imagine that that's the case. But we just come out and say, oh yeah, by the way, this guy won. Maduro's a piece of shit. We don't recognize his fucking government as being legitimate. And you can all go fuck yourselves, basically.
We'll see you in 6 months.
Yeah, we were just like, we got something else going on right now, but don't worry, we'll be with you shortly.
We'll table that. It's like fucking Punisher when he had that prisoner. Hold on, let me murder this guy first. Yeah, and we'll get to the.
Yeah, like, hold on, we have to murder Iran real quick. Here, why don't you take a number and we'll be with you shortly? Like this now, Venezuela is in the DMV queue of the CIA. Like they're just waiting. They're
E6.
Like, yeah. There's some guy in Langley that's just literally sitting there, and he's like E9, and then Maduro holds up this thing. Oh shit, that's me. Just dead.
We have 9 Tomahawk missiles coming at you. Did you fill out the paperwork for this?
Oh, you know what? We actually need 2 forms of ID.
Yeah.
And they both have to be picture IDs. So do you have like a passport or a driver? Oh, yeah, we don't accept Venezuelan driver's licenses as forms of ID. Sorry, that's not going to work for me, brother.
Yeah, we got cruise missiles as well. That's going to be an extra $300.
Oh, man. And also, since we're going to be putting in Disneyland Venezuela soon, we're going to also need about $2 million out of your treasury to get that going. So here, just sign here to transfer the funds. We accept crypto now.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. Obviously, this is day 2 of the waiting game. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Tomorrow, Frank and I will be doing another. We're just going to do CUP episodes every day until this fucking happens. Because why not?
Why not? Stay on top of it, yeah.
Well, something new is happening. Like this was new information that happened today. Now, but anyways, tomorrow night we will probably be maybe even watching it live as it's happening, which might be kind of cool. So I don't know. We'll see. But if not, then whatever. We'll talk about it when it happens, I guess. So anyways, all right. Well, that'll do it for us for this episode. Thanks for tuning in. If you want to go check out all our other shit, you can go to GameRageMagazine.com. You can go to Instagram and TikTok at Game Rage Magazine, Twitter /X at Game Rage Mag. If you want to follow us on the YouTube, go to Game Rage Magazine there. All of our content is currently available. And if you want to follow Adam, it's All Gas No Trash Official. Go listen to the All Gas No Trash podcast. That'll do it for us. We'll catch you fuckers on the next one.
Was the latest episode of the Central Unintelligence Podcast. Don't forget, subscribe and like on Instagram and TikTok at Game Rage Magazine. We're also on Twitter /X at Game Rage Mag. Also Also, our website, www.gameragemagazine.com.